So let's say struggling with Japanese engineers today or cross-cultural collaboration today. I think the answer is already within you. That's my key message. Just try to change some perspective. Believe in you and then improve step by step. What matters is not perfection, but acting on what you believe is right.
Leaders Talk, Season 2.
Hello, everybody. Hello and welcome. Yeah, it's your favorite time of the week. It's my favorite time of the week. It is time for Leaders Talk. And today I have with me a very special guest, a gentleman who I have been working with for quite some time on his book. This is Takehito Yokoo. And he is an engineer, a clean energy innovator, and a cross-cultural leader with over 40 years of experience advancing sustainable technology and global collaboration. As CEO of Josen Power LLC, he leads renewable energy and decarbonization initiatives. And as president of the Global Engineers Initiative, he develops globally minded engineers blending Japanese precision and American innovation. He spent more than 3 decades at Toyota Motor North America R&D as a powertrain chief engineer and senior executive engineer of the advanced fuel cells. He led in hydrogen fuel cell programs, launching the world's first OEM fuel cell heavy-duty truck demo in 2017. In 2021, he co-founded the Japan Hydrogen Forum and continues to serve as the advisor. 2025, he received the Consul General's recommendation for promoting Japan-U.S. hydrogen collaboration. He also serves as Stanford's Precourt Institute for Energy Advisory Council, and he helps professionals and organizations build bridges between innovation, culture, and purpose. And importantly for us today, he is also the author of The Art of Working with Japanese Engineers, Strategies for Successful Cross-Cultural Collaboration. Tak, my friend, we have been working together for years. We have finally gotten to this point. I am so happy that we're here. But that's a good introduction to you. But maybe elaborate a little bit more just about yourself so the audience can get to know you.
Okay, thank you very much. And thank you very much for your fantastic introduction. It was amazing hearing who I am by talking to you. That's amazing. So let me start kind of talk about this book. So yeah, I
Yes.
will continue my introduction too. But this book is the basic result of my insight I have gained from my own life experience. So after many years of working as an engineer, finally I truly understand that how valuable the role of the engineer is to this planet and what it means to perform that role. And in
Yeah.
this book, again, I share key insights such as how powerful hybrid team can be, especially collaboration between American and Japanese engineers, and how easy cross-culture team can break down, unfortunately, when we justify our own thinking and communicate only from that perspective, and how we can really ultimately build a mutual trust, which is the true goal. So all based on their experience and practice. So this is not simply a book about the cross-cultural training. It is a story about how technology and culture and people come together to shape the future. So again, my name is Takehito Yokoo, and I'm engineer and clean energy innovator and the cross-cultural leader. For more than 40 years, I have worked advanced sustainable technology and global collaboration. And from my career to Toyota North America, to my current role of CEO of Josen Power LLC, president of the Global Engineers Initiative, I have really come to the single conclusion. The future cannot be built by technology alone. It is built by people who can connect different worlds.
Well, Tech, that brings me to the question, why did you decide to write this book? And maybe kind of deep dive a little more into why cultural collaboration is so important today.
Yes, let me start doing this. So let me begin with a brief introduction again continuously. So I started my journey in engineering in Japan and earned a master's degree in mechanical engineering from Hosei University. When I began my career, sustainability was not a common concept in the early 1980s, which kind of telling how old I am, but anyway, I joined Toyota Motor
That's not that
Corporation.
bad.
So I joined Toyota Motor Corporation in Japan. Then basically I earned I encountered a culture that valued not just engineering development, but the discipline of the taking time to pursue the essence of the things. And later I moved to United States that really changed my life after. There, I begin to see that engineering is not only about technology. I've come to realize that it is also including element of culture and environmental and nature. And I was in Japan. I never experienced a day without seeing man-made structure.
Mm.
But when I enter the desert this country, I really found myself in place where no artificial object were visible. In that moment, I felt the Earth, planet that has sustained life 4.5 billion years, in a world we must not destroy. That's why it's so important.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's interesting because that's a very interesting change of perspective. So maybe go a little further into how did your journey
Mhm.
from Japan to the United States shape your view of engineering and maybe just the world in general?
Yes, thank you very much for the question. Yes. At Toyota Motor North America, I spent more than 30 years working as a powertrain engineer and later as a senior executive engineer for hydrogen fuel cell vehicles. So my work included hybrid vehicles, battery electric vehicles, and hydrogen fuel cell. One milestone stands out is in 2017. At the Port of Los Angeles, I led world's first OEM hydrogen fuel cell heavy-duty truck demonstration. This
Mhm.
was not just a technical experiment. It was the first step towards eliminating diesel emission in the port community of Los Angeles. So from all such many years of experience, I learned cross-cultural environmental and the special communication skill among the people. When the idea are new to people, I become reality matters, sharing the same correct knowledge. And of course, it's not easy for people with a different background to understand the things in the same way. So I really learned the needs of special skill to bring people in the same page. That's something you cannot skip, and it was the important lesson.
Yeah. And that stood out to me when I was reading your bio that the Toyota and the work on the truck project. So, what were in lessons that you got from the 30 years of working at Toyota in that hydrogen truck project that you found important?
Yes, the kind of lesson I learned is even though we share the same goal of improving the environment, hydrogen as a new energy source was often misunderstood. So
Mm.
it is bad and good. Because of this situation, there was a unique that really made me change my vision different. So it is one of the necessary option. The hydrogen is one of the necessary option to the transaction from the fossil fuel to clean fuel. However, it was difficult to be accepted by society. So through the experience of promoting hydrogen, I learned to gain community support or other people's support. It is not enough to explain what hydrogen is. And something instead, I really thought that we must understand what the community wants, what the other party wants to hear, and respond to those questions sincerely. That is how trust will build and cross differences.
Yeah, and that's actually fascinating to me because I never thought of it from that perspective about how it could connect to society. So, what did hydrogen technology teach you about trust, communication, society?
Mhm. Yes, hydrogen, the community really, let's say, teach me that something we need to tell new things into the world, new things into the community, that people protect themselves. People really not open their mind first, which is not against at anybody, against at me. First, I thought this was against at me, but no,
Hmm.
this is the opportunity that how to really share the new things that something I know, something that people does not know yet, and really explain what it is and hear what they think it is, and finally create the trust in each other, working together. So that's something that really created new experience for me.
Okay. Okay. You know, this kind of brings us to the end of the Toyota time. I mean, we have a lot more to go after that. So, you know, after Toyota, what were the inspirations that you had to continue leading a clean energy and global collaboration initiative.
Yeah, yeah. So because the increase in CO2 has something occurred the same span as my own life. So my
Yeah.
colleague in Toyota was always joking me that this is the CO2, this planet CO2 problem is Mr. Yoko, you, because this problem exactly happens when you were born and aligned exactly your timeline. So
Mhm.
at first I thought that was joking and laughing, but after a while I thought, this is true. So I start feeling the personal responsibility of the problem. So then I think addressing the environmental issue requires each of us to recognize and share the responsibility. So with that in my mind, after retiring from Toyota, I choose to continue working in business that contribute to environmental improvement. And as a CEO of Josen Power LLC, I now work on hydrogen energy and decarbonization initiative. And I also co-founded the Japan Hydrogen Forum in collaboration with Japan External Trade Organization and Consul General of Japan in Los Angeles. And I also serve the advisory council of the Stanford University Procol Institute of Energy. And in 2025, I was so honored, happy to get the commendation from the Consul General of in Japan. And what I can do, as I think it's individual, maybe small, but the movement becomes powerful when people with the same goal come together. So I plan to continue being part of the effort.
Yeah, and it's an effort that connects with us all. I mean,
Right.
everybody in the world, this
Correct.
is something that we all kind of have to address. So this is
Mhm.
important that you're taking a leadership position with this.
Thank you. Yeah, yeah, that's so
Yeah,
important.
yeah. So let's kind of look a little bit deeper in it. What cultural differences create challenges between
Mhm.
American and Japanese engineers? Because this is something that's very important for
Right,
your connection to the book. It's literally in the
right.
title. And how were we able to build strengths out of that?
Right, right. So before I start talking about challenge, what I really, the things that really motivated me to start thinking about culture and those different was after many years of working with the United States, I really recognized something essential. Essential point was collaboration. Collaboration between Japanese and American engineers can create the strong team in the world. So with
Hmm.
this, I thought it's something that we really need to bring up and make those strong team and in the world. And however, science solves only half of the problem, as I just mentioned. Other half is culture, which I really realize. So, for
Right.
example, in Japan, consensus building is highly valued when in the US, while in the US, individual input is emphasized. In Japan, decisions are made collectively, often takes lots of time, but in the US, speed is really essential. So these kind of different perspective can create a thick wall between the two. So however, we really must respect these difference and therefore each other. How do we do that? Sorry, of course, there is no silver bullet. And I don't have any specific answer to each individual because the answer is different from each individual. But one thing that in common I found is really I learned that trying to prove yourself never works, never works. And instead, trust is built by showing the willingness of listening to others, and I cannot be built in a day. That cannot be built in a day. You must
Right.
spend time and earn it. That's the key I listened. I listened and learned.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and you're really building something for future generations here. You're creating, especially with this book, you're trying to inspire future generations of engineers to move
Mhm.
in these kind of renewable energy directions. So maybe, kind of go into us for a little bit. What kind of skills and mindset are important for that next generation of
Mhm.
global
Mhm.
engineers?
Yes, let me say, as a president of the Global Engineers Initiative, I really focus on developing engineers who can work globally and
Hmm.
engineers who is willing to understand difference and get the hidden value out from there. So this book really summarized the key point of working with Japanese engineer as one of the cut section. So it covers topics such as Japanese and American engineers' mindset and the meaning behind no in Japan and process versus result and communication beyond language and misunderstood meeting in the consensus and trust building strategy, hidden hierarchies and role of silence, and role of the Western engineers, and evolving role engineers in the age of AI, and building the future together, something like that. And understanding all those things about will prompt you to start new initiative and hope people could find these valuable on their own development.
Yeah. And I think that that's one of the things that's just the most important because, again, we can't underestimate the importance of this issue.
Right.
This issue is something that literally the earth hangs in the balance of it over the long time. We can go outside right now. We feel the results of the problem.
Right.
So yeah, this is something, but we aren't working together in many
Mhm.
ways, and that's
Right.
why I think that this book becomes very valuable because as you look at the world, there are so many differences in how people work that this is something that I feel that young people, the next generation, maybe our generation may be a little old for it, but the next generation really needs to seize on some of these ideas,
Yeah,
enabled to be enabled to move forward, right?
that's correct. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, so, what advice then would you give with that idea to professionals that are struggling with
Right.
cross-cultural collaboration? Because that seems to be what we keep going back to is
Mhm.
there's
Right.
so many problems that are lost in translation.
Yeah. So let's say struggling with Japanese engineers today or cross-cultural collaboration today. I think the answer is already within you. That's my key message. Just try to change the some perspective. Believe in you and then improve step by step. What matters is not the perfection, but acting on what you believe is right. And that is what built your strength and your team's strength. So that's my strong advice.
Yeah. Well, and I think that when you talk about, especially when you're talking about the issue of renewable energy and you're talking about the carbon footprint and all of those things,
Mhm.
there's a lot of responsibility here
Yep.
that falls on the shoulders of people that are working to solve these problems.
Mhm.
So, why do engineers have this special responsibility to future generations?
Right. So thank you very much for asking that my favorite question. So it is really key to me. So now kind of let us broaden the perspective and wider perspective. Let's say talking about around the world. Many,
Yes.
many people dreams of becoming engineers, but cannot. Why? Many of them must focus on survival. About 80% people in this planet is survival for the everyday. For those who does not need to worry about tomorrow's food, tomorrow's life, like us, I think it's an extraordinary. Wow, that's a difficult pronounce. Extraordinary.
Yeah.
It is a form of happiness, and that borders on the almost miracle. That's what I say. And with that comes responsibility. That's the key point. So we
Hmm.
must pass such happiness forward to the future generations and extend this happiness to the world and as much as possible. So engineers are the one can do the job, and I want to say the one must do the job. That's why it's a really important responsibility that engineers has.
Yeah. Before we kind of start wrapping things up, what are some of the technologies that you think are most important for future engineers to be concentrating on right now in order to do the most good?
I think again, I'm working on the environmental issue,
Mhm.
and from my viewpoint and experience, I think the engineers for the most important things to engineers is really, really creating the sustainable world, which must come from the energy sustainable and life sustainable and the food sustainable. But
Mhm.
for the engineers, as for the engineers cut section, I would say really the energy sustainable, creating energy sustainable world is so important. And that should not and must not create any kind of extra CO2 or any kind of more.
Exactly. We don't want to add to the
Our
problem,
planet
right?
is already too hot, too hot, and we don't want to be any more
I
hot.
know. I have a sunburn to prove it from just going outside for an
So
hour.
interesting things I really study was the extinction. We have a kind of major extinction in the planet history. Like almost every, I don't know, 400 million, 300, 400 million years, we have a major extinction that we lost the species in this planet and almost 80%, 70%. And for example, that maybe two or three or four times the extinction happened due to the CO2, again, due to the lots of the, it's not the human CO2. It
Right.
because of the volcano, lots of volcano
Right.
created
Right. Yeah.
CO2 and killed almost the 80%, 90% species. It took about, even kill those things took about 10,000 to 100,000 years to make, unfortunately, to make all the species kill. Uh, we have a society in this time, the checking the all species, the planet species, the how many species are unfortunately decreasing, how many animal population decreasing, including small insect, animal, fish, and everything. And about, I thought about 5,000 to 6,000, the kind of life species, and
Mhm.
maybe total, I forgot something, 60,000, the 60,000, 70,000, the species numbers, actual life numbers to check. Uh, that group really found that just the last 40 years, again, just the 40 years, we lost we lost 70% of those. So that in last 40 years, the species was about 60,000 species. Now we have only 10 to 20,000. Everything
Oh,
is lost. And of course, this including the all the not only the life, but actual species numbers of the category of species. It's it's amazing major extinction we are living in this time of this planet. So
yeah.
that's so important really create engineer to immediately create good sustainable and no more CO2.
Right. Well, I mean, and yeah, you definitely put it into perspective. This is something that's facing us all, and and for those engineers that you're talking about, what's kind of a final message? I like to usually call it a golden nugget, but we'll call it that. That you would like our listeners to remember about the engineering and the future.
Okay. So my final message is not maybe so much like a wow, but more like
Yeah.
the really practice and really something my personal feeling. So again, it really come back to this book, writing this book. So basically my journey, as I just explained, not the advancing technology, it has been about the connecting people. And again, engineering is not just a technology. It is the act of imagining the future
Yeah.
and connecting people and commitment, really commitment to make the world better. So my really message, what the engineering needs to go forward is not innovation alone. I know engineers, you are innovating everything, but not. It's really collaboration across the world and imagining the future, better future. So I say that future exists because we build it. And that's my message.
Yeah. And I think it's a good one. I think it's an important one. Tack, how can our audience find out a little bit more about you?
Uh, I would say I hope I'm unique a little bit because I'm an engineer.
You are very easy to find. Google will get to you.
My experience is really the typical Japanese company work because the people life really the 80%, 70% time spent was actually working. So my time out of my time, my age, 70% work for Toyota. So many things in coming from Toyota. And not so much coming from Toyota, not so much I learned outside of the actual work of Toyota. But after I retired, really realized that there are the world outside of Toyota, right? So uh, really, I noticed that yes, there are so many things I need to do, and of course, I like the art, music, and painting and history, and really, I would say the uniqueness, where the uniqueness come from is I love people. My friends, my wife all say that you're too kind to everybody. There are many people that you don't want to trust. but I say
Never
first.
apologize for kindness.
Right. But
Never
I kind
apologize.
of start trusting people and maybe protect later. And it make lots of mistake. But I like people. Basically, I like people. I like to talk people. I know history. I like history. And what things come from to me was again book. This is the one book, but
Yeah.
you can see the lots of book in behind me. This is just a part of book. I really love to read book, maybe 4 or 5 books per month and ongoing. That you should not read, I don't say but should, but my recommendation is you should not read the book incrementally. That means one by one by one. No, you should read the multi-book, like at least 3 or 4 books together. Put this in the lunch table, in the car, on the bed, and on the desk, and whatever you can reach. Take the book you're reading, read and finish, and whatever you go next place, you have a book, read something. Just go read thoroughly, and maybe 3 or 4 books together, and don't even really focus in category. History, mystery, crazy, funny, and drama, and everything. It will come give you some idea of point of connection. Wow, moment. Gives you a wow moment. Okay, I now understand that and this was
Yeah.
connected. Right. So that's
Yeah.
the power of the book and really create you to be unique. That's what I
I love
say.
it. Yeah, I love it. As someone who teaches English and does this and all of the above, I couldn't have a better message. Well, ladies and gentlemen, speaking of books, the book is The Art of Working with Japanese Engineers. The links are down below. Give it a click. Go on Amazon. Buy a copy. I promise you, I've read it many, many times. You will not be sorry. This is a fantastic read from a fantastic person. Tak, my friend, again, it was a
Yeah.
pleasure having you on. I'm glad to see you again. And again, this is something we worked on together. So I feel very connected to this one as well. So I'm very happy
Thank
to have
you.
had you on today.
Thank you very much. Pleasure is mine, and thank you very much for kind attention.
Thank you. Thank you. All right. Best of luck, sir.
All right. Thank you.